Man, what a week to be a Ravens fan. Finally, we can talk about a win that actually felt earned, one that wasn't filled with frustration, blown leads, or late-game heartbreak. It's been a long time since Baltimore fans could sit back, smile, and say, yeah, that's the team we know they can be. The energy after that game was something else. The players were fired up, the fans were going crazy, and even the coaches, especially Todd Monkin, looked like they had just lifted a giant weight off their shoulders. It wasn't just another win. It was a statement, a reminder that this team, when it clicks, can go toe-to-toe with anybody. And man, let's talk about the vibe around this squad right now. The Ravens have been through a rough stretch, filled with negativity, doubt, and all kinds of criticism. Every week it felt like someone was pointing fingers at the players, the coaches, the play calling, the effort. You could feel the tension building up. But this game flipped the script. For once, the talk wasn't about what went wrong. It was about what went right. Offense, defense, special teams, every part of the roster showed up. It wasn't perfect, but it was the closest thing to a complete performance we've seen in a while. And the timing couldn't have been better, heading into a short week before facing the Dolphins. Now, here's where things get interesting. The story within the story wasn't just about the Ravens beating the Bears. It was about Todd Monkin, the offensive coordinator who had been taking all kinds of heat the past couple of weeks. Reports came out saying he was tough to work with, that players weren't connecting with him, that maybe his style didn't fit this locker room. Some fans even started to question whether he was the right guy for the job. But Monkin clearly heard every word of it. He didn't just sit back quietly. He responded the best way possible, with results. The man put together a masterclass game plan and proved exactly why he's one of the sharpest offensive minds in football. Without Lamar Jackson, this offense still found ways to move the ball, make big plays, and keep the pressure on Chicago from start to finish. Tyler Huntley stepped in and looked confident, comfortable, and in command, something that doesn't happen unless your coordinator puts you in the right situations. Monkin schemed guys open, mixed up formations, used motion smartly, and kept the defense guessing. It wasn't flashy. It was efficient. It was smart football. And that's the kind of stuff that makes coaches earn their paychecks. But here's what made the whole thing even more special. After the game, videos started surfacing online of Monkin losing his mind, in a good way. He was celebrating with fans, shouting, high-fiving, full of energy, like a man who finally got to breathe again after holding it all in for too long. You could tell that all the criticism had gotten to him. The dude's been hearing it nonstop. Fans, media, even whispers from inside the organization. But when the final whistle blew and that scoreboard read, Ravens win, it was like every ounce of frustration came pouring out at once. He deserved that release. People might say, coaches shouldn't show that much emotion. But come on, this is football. This is passion. Monkin has been grinding, trying to get this team on track, dealing with injuries, rotating quarterbacks, inconsistent offensive line play, and constant noise from outside. When you finally get that big win, you let it out. And man, he let it out. That's what makes him real. He's not just drawing plays on a whiteboard. He's living this game. And honestly, it was strange in the first place that all the blame had landed on him. Usually, when a team struggles, everyone shares a piece of it. The head coach, the players, the coordinators. But in this case, it felt like Monkin was being singled out unfairly. Sure, he's not perfect. No coaches. But before this game, Baltimore's problems were much bigger than just the offense. Without Lamar Jackson, any team in the league would struggle. The fact that Monkin managed to keep things even somewhat functional during that stretch should have been a sign of how good he is. Yet somehow, the narrative turned against him. That's why this win felt so sweet, because it flipped that narrative on its head. Imagine being in his shoes for a second. You're working your tail off every week, putting together game plans, trying to adjust on the fly, and then all you hear is how you're the problem. It's like being the one kid in class who aces the test while everyone else struggles, and somehow the teacher still blames you for the low average. That's the kind of frustration Monkin was carrying. So when his game plan hit perfectly, when his backup quarterback balled out, when his play calls clicked, he earned every right to celebrate. And let's give some love to Tyler Huntley while we're at it. The guy stepped up in a tough spot and delivered. No Lamar, no problem. He didn't have to be a superhero. He just had to be solid. And that's exactly what he was. Calm, composed, and efficient. He trusted the system, trusted the play calls, and executed. That's a sign of a quarterback who's well-prepared and a coach who knows how to get the best out of him. From a schematic standpoint, Monkin didn't reinvent the wheel. What he did was lean on what his team does best: run the football, use motion to confuse defenses, and build play action off that foundation. Getting fullback Patrick Ricard involved again was huge. He's the kind of player who doesn't make headlines, but sets the tone in the trenches. With Ricard blocking and Derrick Henry pounding the rock, everything opened up. The offensive line played tougher, and Huntley had the time he needed to find open targets. You could see the rhythm building as the game went on. Monkin wasn't chasing big plays or forcing anything. He was patient, letting the game come to him. That's when he's at his best, when he's calling the game with confidence, not desperation. That balance between creativity and control is what separates good coordinators from great ones. He knew when to take a shot and when to grind out yards. He used his personnel the right way, even with limitations. Now, does that mean everything is suddenly fixed? Of course not. There are still red zone issues to clean up, moments where the offense stalls, and plays that make you scratch your head. But that's part of football. The key is that Monkin showed he's willing to adjust, to evolve. Earlier in the year, there were games where he seemed to overthink things, too many fancy looks, too much hesitation to commit to the run. This time, he trusted his gut, trusted his players, and it paid off. And you could feel it in the locker room after the game. The team wasn't just relieved, they were having fun again. During that losing streak, every camera shot showed frustration, slumped shoulders, quiet sidelines, blank stares. But this time, smiles, laughter, energy. Football's supposed to be fun, and when the Ravens play loose, they're dangerous. That kind of energy is contagious, and it starts with the coaching staff. Todd Monkin wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's passionate, fiery, and brutally honest. That's why players respect him, even when he's tough on them. And after a week where he was under fire, seeing him celebrate with his guys reminded everyone why he's the right man for this job. It wasn't just about proving the doubters wrong. It was about reminding everyone that belief and energy matter. When the locker room feels that, when they see their coach fighting with them instead of above them, that's when a team starts to click again. You know what's funny? All week long, everyone kept talking about Todd Monkin. The criticism was loud, the reports were messy, and it felt like every little thing that could go wrong was being pinned on him. People were calling him hard to work with, saying players didn't trust him, that the offense had lost direction. And yet, when game day came, Monkin walked right into that stadium and called one of the best offensive games we've seen from this team all season long. No Lamar Jackson, no Superman to bail him out, just Tyler Huntley under center, and still, Monkin put together a plan that flat out worked. That's not luck. That's preparation, experience, and confidence in what you're building. The guy showed that he still has it. You could see the emotion pouring out of him after the final whistle. Videos of him hyped up with the fans were all over social media, and you could just tell this win meant more than the scoreboard. It was personal. He had been taking all that criticism for weeks, hearing all the noise, and now he finally got to clap back in the only way that really matters, by winning. I mean, if you're Todd Monkin, how can you not feel vindicated after that performance? The man earned every bit of that celebration. And the best part was that it wasn't just one of those fluke wins. This wasn't a lucky bounce or a missed call. The Ravens earned this one in all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. The offense finally looked like it had rhythm. The defense played with that Baltimore edge again. And even the special teams brought energy we hadn't seen in weeks. It was one of those games that reminded everyone what this team is capable of when they're focused and locked in. Monkin, for his part, coached like a man on a mission. He simplified things when they needed to be simple, but he also showed flashes of creativity, pre-snap motion, clever use of personnel, and just enough unpredictability to keep the defense guessing. Getting Pat Ricard involved again was a smart move. It added that physical element up front and helped open up the running game. Even without Lamar, the offense didn't panic or fall apart. Instead, they leaned on what they do best: controlling tempo, running the ball, and keeping mistakes to a minimum. You could almost feel Monkin's mindset shift. He wasn't coaching scared. He wasn't trying to prove something with trick plays or flashy calls. He was out there calling the game like a coach who trusts his players. Tyler Huntley looked comfortable, poised, and in control. That's what a good play caller does. He puts his quarterback in situations where he can succeed. Monkin did that over and over again. It's funny how fast people can turn. A week ago, folks were calling for changes and blaming Monkin for everything. Now, those same people are cheering him on. That's football for you. It's emotional, it's reactionary, and sometimes people forget that the guys on the sideline are human too. Criticism comes with the job, but man, it must have felt good for Monkin to silence some of those doubters, even if just for a week. And let's give Tyler Huntley his flowers, too. That guy played fearless. Nobody expected much from him coming into this one, but he made plays when it mattered. He managed the offense, took care of the football, and gave the Ravens exactly what they needed, stability. He's not Lamar Jackson, and he doesn't try to be, but he played within the system, and it worked. That's all you can ask from your backup quarterback. Monkin's body language on the sideline said everything. Every good play, every first down, you could see the fire. He was coaching with emotion, not frustration. And when the cameras caught him shouting after the game, you could tell it was more than adrenaline. That was weeks of pressure, doubt, and frustration boiling over into pure relief. Some people might not like that kind of energy, but honestly, I love it. It shows he cares. It shows he's not just clocking in and clocking out. He's living and breathing this team's success. Now, was the game perfect? Of course not. There were still moments where the offense stalled, a few missed opportunities in the red zone, and a couple of plays that probably made Monkin shake his head. But compared to where this team has been, this was a massive step forward. You can build on this. You can look at this film and actually feel good about what you see. What stood out the most, though, was the balance. They didn't abandon the run. They didn't get desperate when things didn't work early. They trusted their identity, and that's something the Ravens have always done well when they're at their best. Establish the run, open up play action, and make defenses guess. With Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell both showing flashes, that 1-2 punch could be deadly moving forward. And when Lamar's back in the mix, it's only going to get scarier. Monkin deserves a lot of credit for adapting. He's not the kind of coach who sticks stubbornly to one plan. He reads the game, feels the flow, and adjusts. Sometimes that's gotten him into trouble, sure, but more often than not, it's what gives this offense its edge. He's learning how to balance patience with aggression, and you can see that growth week by week. It also feels like the players are feeding off his energy again. During that losing streak, you could see the frustration everywhere, the slumped shoulders, the quiet sidelines, the players staring at the turf after every mistake. But this week, completely different vibe. Guys were smiling, hyping each other up, dancing on the sidelines. Football is supposed to be fun, and when this team plays loose, they're dangerous. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL and left Baltimore fans in stunned silence, Lamar Jackson, the electrifying quarterback and living legend of the Ravens, has reportedly decided to bid farewell to the team that made him a household name. While official confirmation remains elusive, whispers from inside the league suggest that Jackson's departure could mark the end of an era in Charm City, leaving fans torn between heartbreak and admiration. Known for his jaw-dropping agility, pinpoint accuracy, and uncanny ability to escape defenders in ways few quarterbacks can, Jackson has redefined what it means to be a dual threat in the NFL. From his historic MVP season to countless game-winning drives, his highlight reels read like a greatest hits compilation of modern football brilliance. Rumors now swirl that Jackson's decision was motivated not by lack of love for Baltimore, but by a desire to chase a new challenge, perhaps even a final Super Bowl push in a different city. The streets of Baltimore are reportedly buzzing with speculation. Social media timelines are flooded with nostalgic tributes, countless fans sharing their favorite Lamar moments. From his iconic runs against the Steelers to his record-setting performances that seem to defy the laws of physics. Behind closed doors, team insiders hint at emotional meetings between Jackson and management, where words like legacy and family were reportedly exchanged. Sources close to the quarterback suggest that this move was anything but impulsive. Rather, it's the culmination of years of careful consideration, balancing personal ambition with an unwavering loyalty to a city that cheered him on through every triumph and setback. While the Ravens scramble to imagine life without their franchise cornerstone, NFL analysts are already debating the potential ripple effects across the league. Could this spark a frenzy in free agency, or might it ignite a bidding war that shakes up team dynamics far beyond Baltimore? For now, the certainty is that Jackson's imprint on the Ravens is indelible. He leaves behind more than just records and accolades. He leaves a blueprint for quarterbacks to come, a symbol of resilience, creativity, and sheer talent that will inspire generations. As the rumor mills churn and fans brace for what could be an official announcement any day, one thing is clear: Lamar Jackson's legacy in Baltimore is eternal. The city may be saying goodbye to an icon, but the stories, the memories, and the magic of his time in purple and black will echo through the streets long after the final whistle. Baltimore is, without a doubt, forever Jackson country. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.